Hello, and welcome to the Writer's Workshop, where we take your user-submitted stories and critique them and narrate them. We've been off for a long time, but let's get back in the swing of things. We're going right back into some of the stories we had under the submissions list, and we're looking at Breakneck Fantasy by Verbose Mode. Milk, what can you tell us about the story as far as the description, what type of story it is, and so on?
I know nothing about this story other than its alternative universe and slice of life. I'm assuming because there's Scootaloo involved that there's going to be some sort of backstory sob kind of thing going on for either a cutie marker from not flying.
Oh, yes, of course. Of course, it is a Scootaloo fix, so this is right up your alley.
Damn right it is.
This one's really well rated, despite not getting a lot of attention. And apparently this was in the final round for a write-off group for the Harmonist, I believe. It didn't say how it did in it, and it has a sequel, so apparently it did fairly well. This was also rated by Rage Reviews, and it apparently was not very rageful. So I think we've got a good one on our hands.
How do they rate their stuff over at Rage Reviews?
I don't honestly know. Maybe someone over in the comments can let us know. But let's jump straight into 1,100 words, faster and faster. The only chapter. The highest room of the tallest tower was surprisingly chilly, considering who used it. One might have thought it would be richly furnished. Scootaloo slunk up the stairs, lowering herself all the way to her belly as she made it to the top and peeked over the final step, into the sparsely carpeted room that was the princess's watch. Finding it empty, she rose and moved directly to her next goal. Wind whistled through the gap in the balcony floor as she pressed a hoof on the latch, and whipped into the room as she pushed it open against the gale. Bracing it with a hoof, she squeezed her way outside into Canterlot air and let the wind slam it shut. It locked, of course, but Scootaloo wasn't planning on going back that way. If the inside was chilly, the gusts outside were freezing. The jacket pinning her wings to the side cut most of the bite. However, she was far more concerned about her balance as she reared up and clambered onto the railing. Whew! That's high. That's really high. She felt her stomach tighten as the ground seemed to retreat even farther away, the distance stretching as she watched. She screwed her eyes shut and refocused. Come on, Scoots. You came here for the heights. Real Pegasi aren't afraid of heights. From the railing, the young mare carefully stretched and hooked a fetlock under the edge of her roof. Hold on. And hooked a fetlock under the edge of the roof. Both rear hooves on the rail, one on the tile, one touching the wall for balance, she took a steadying breath. You got this. Just do what you came here to do. Just jump. That's all this is. Just a hop. Her uncle placed a hoof on her shoulder, drawing her away from the edge of the cloud. Careful, little Lou. Don't fall. What good is a Pegasus that can't even fly? Diamond Tiara said. Scootaloo's eyes went wide as Apple Bloom stepped forward in anger. So, you're disabled. You'll never... Sweetie Belle choked, eyes filled with tears. Pity. Scootaloo hated it. She ran, but they found her later. Comforted her. Seriously, what can I do? Name one job that's good for a flightless Pegasus, Scootaloo yelled. Rainbow Dash stepped back, surprise and doubt in her eyes. Scootaloo turned to give her a good look at her cutie mark. You know what this is? A wrench. On a pony that wanted nothing more in life than to fly. And now I can't. Rainbow Dash turned away. You're pathetic, Scootaloo. What? Scootaloo had been so shocked that she stopped crying right there and then. From all ponies, she had never expected that. You heard me, Rainbow Dash said, looking out over the edge of the bridge. You're pathetic. I can't believe you. I can't believe that anybody could give up on themselves that easily. You're never allowed to give up on your dreams. Ever. But the doctor said, I don't care! Rainbow Dash spun back around, and Scootaloo recoiled from her angry tone and tears. Rainbow Dash was crying too. You know what else was impossible? The Sonic Rainboom. Reforming Discord. Half the stuff we used to do on a regular basis. So pony up! Scootaloo hung her head, ashamed, as Rainbow Dash did the exact soul-crushing words she needed to hear. Pony up and do something about it. I don't want to be friends with a quitter, and I won't let you be a quitter. 8 months later, Scootaloo stood on the railings of the Princess's Wash over Camelot. She could feel sweat beating down her wool collar, and of all things, her wings itched. She shifted her hooves in the tiniest ways to keep her balance as the wind clawed at her, trying to tear her away. A moment later, finally ready, Scootaloo let it take her. There was a split second where Scootaloo wondered, not about anything in particular, just being there, in the sky, truly alone with nothing to hold on to, nothing to believe in but herself. This was flying. Her mind was telling her that she was going to die, but she was flying. The first terrace was past her before she could think about it. Something clicked and she twisted her body, changing her graceful tumble into a predatory dive. Windows and balconies flashed past faster than any eye could detect, and Scootaloo bared her teeth against the screaming gale. She felt magic rip through her mane and tail as she reached top speed, the perfect speed. She would meet the plaza below in less than a second. Scootaloo spread her wings, pressing them against the inside of her very special jacket. 8 months of work, sleepless nights, double-checking, engineering, math, testing, fixing, training. One moment. Air caught the special pockets, inflating them. Fabric snapped taut and expanded. Cords twanged under stress. The best materials Equestria had were tested. Every ounce of breath was knocked out of Scootaloo as the harness pressed into her chest and barrel, straining to keep her head up, and her legs tucked as gravity, drag, and inertia ripped at her from every direction. The jacket cracked like a bullwhip and finished its transformation, and Scootaloo pulled out of her dive, speeding down the street. Building after building shot past. Every bit of focus Scootaloo had was poured into keeping on the one safe course she had plotted out. Passerby below barely had time to register the hiss of her passage before she was several blocks away. She reached the edge of the city and burst out into open air. She could hear something and realized she was screaming or laughing, maybe crying again. She didn't know. She didn't care. Yeah! 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 What you got, world? She rocked her wing gently down as the pressures on the wingsuit eased, going into a gentle turning glide to look at the sparkling trail of royal purple behind her, streaming off her tail and the tips of her airfoil. She laughed, tears streaking across her temples as the wind swept them away. She laughed until she finally caught her breath enough to shout, "My name is Scootaloo, and I freaking win!" Until the fear of death is overcome by the love of speed. And that's the story.
I like that story.
And you know what? I really enjoyed this. It was a very enjoyable romp at the end of the day. There was no glaring issues. Overall, this is the kind of sweet, nice Scootaloo story that people who love her character just eat up. And I can't say there's anything wrong with that. It's really good. Maybe I liked the use of actual materials to create wings and stuff. That was really it's been done before, but I really liked how it was done here. Well, you're the Scootaloo fan, Milk. What do you think?
It was a nice switch around. There wasn't this cheesy ending where she can fly now. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Nah, she actually went and did processes to make a wingsuit and everything. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So it was a nice turnaround.
I can definitely see why this got as positive ratings as it did. I just gave it a positive rating myself. This is really good. I think Verbose has some good skill here, and I really think he took a lot of time to go through and really edit it. The only thing I think was maybe a little lazy about this fic, it wasn't done poorly. I just think it was done kind of lazy. If I really had to critique it, was how the flashbacks were done. They are done in a really kind of abrupt way with the ellipsis here to show that there's a break and show that something's going to happen. But that said, I feel like when I was narrating it and reading it back out loud, like maybe someone who's just listening to this and they weren't watching the video isn't quite sure at the dramatic shifts and changes that happen, which kind of that's kind of some of the things that you have to deal with translating a written form to a narrative form. But this wasn't necessarily bad, and I feel like this is actually a story I would recommend to people if they're looking for a good Scootaloo overcomes her flight disability thing. So, but yeah, this is really good, and Verbose, I really hope we can see more from you.
Yeah, it was a good story. Do more.
So, this is it. We're finally back in the swing of things.
Oh, dear God, what have we done?
Yes. Thank you for watching this episode of the Writer's Workshop. This is Priest and Milk signing out. See you next week.
Bye.